I think I've found one of the coolest little Christmas gifts you can get any young mechanic in your life. The people at stirlingkit.com reached out to me and wanted to know if I would review one of their motors. So I said, sure, why not? So they sent me one. We just got done putting this thing together. This thing's actually super cool. It took me about 3 hours-ish total to put it together. The instructions were super clear. And this was just like building like a little tiny motor. I mean, it's exactly what it is. This motor will actually run if you buy the right kit. So this is actually like an RC type of little motor. I really think this would be cool for like anybody that's kind of into wrenching, that's kind of younger maybe. This is something you could do right at the kitchen table. I do have a discount code down in the description. If you go to their website and go to purchase something at checkout, if you put the code Toy Shop in, and I'll put it right in here. If you use the code Toy Shop, you get 15% off. I do get a 5% kickback on that, so that would help the channel. I was a little bit nervous being a Chinese company that it was either gonna be poor quality or the instructions would be kind of iffy, but actually the instructions were spot on. They had colored pictures for the whole thing, and it was very easy to follow. Everything was numbered. I didn't have any missing hardware at all in it. Like, this is just the cutest little thing I've ever seen, really. I don't know how to explain it. Got little exhaust manifolds here on this side. Right here's a little carburetor. This is for methanol. They sell a kit for the glow plugs, and it comes with a little gas tank. So you can hook this up to the carburetor. So this whole motor is designed to actually run. I did have one little hiccup with it. The head seemed to have some sand in some of these little teeny tiny threaded holes. So probably what I would do right off the bat is I would take these big aluminum pieces and maybe blow them out with air, make sure that all the holes are good and cleaned out. Other than that, I had zero issues with it. Everything fit together super well. It timed really easy because there's timing marks on this because you got to time the cam with the crank. But yeah, let me show you how we put this thing together. They come in these super nice foam little kits. So everything's all kept together. We got some gaskets here. We got assortment of pulleys. We got a valve cover here. We got some more parts. And then we've got our last, this is the big section. This is so cool. I'm excited about this. First thing I want to do is I want to open up the manual because I have no idea where to start on this. All right, so this actually looks super easy. They've given us all of our different assembly steps. It's actually all super nice, like 3D kind of like CAD type drawings, like when on the software that they designed this on. Wow, I'm super impressed with that actually. Very impressed with that. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna pull out our little crank. Just know that I'm coming from the background of working on full size motors. Actually right here, right there's a full size motor out of a Yamaha Moto 4. That's right there. So this is what I normally do on my channel, is this type of stuff here. So if you're interested in something like that, consider subscribing. This is kind of just a fun little side thing that I got the opportunity to check out, and so far I'm pretty happy I did. So, all right, so we got a little keyway here. So what we got to do is we got to find number 4. All right, we got 28, 29, and 7. So it looks like in this kit here, we got 28 and 29. 28 looks like a bearing. 29's a seal. And then we got a number 7. Number 7 is in this little parts kit. All right, so we got all that. I do want to get a little bit of oil. There's a little AMS oil. So we're gonna take that and I'm gonna just kind of lightly oil the face of this bearing. All right, so the bearing goes on. Now I gotta put my seal on, then my little washer, then set my keyway in there. Now it looks like number 37. We're going on to this big ring gear here. I'm assuming it's this big boy here. Oh, this is a one-way clutch. This is a Sprag clutch. So it'll spin this way all day. If I go backwards, it won't go. That must be for the starter. All right, so we got that on there. So now we're gonna go next step. There's a little notch in here on the flywheel for the keyway. I'm gonna line that up, make sure that goes on. My washer's cone shaped and I wanna stick the cone shape on it like this so it'll kind of smush out flat. I don't wanna stick it on here this way. So I wanna stick my washer on this way so it'll flatten out. Stick our nut on. All right, it does not give me a torque spec, so I'm just gonna kind of snug it up quick. All right, so that's on there and tight, that shouldn't move. We still are free back here. All right, looks like we are gonna pull the cylinder out now. Dude, this is so cool. Look at this little guy. It's like a little tank. Like, this is like a real motor. I'm like, this thing's awesome. If I could afford to get into more hobbies, I think RC stuff would be one of the next things I get into. Oh, look it, it's got cute little sleeves. Oh, that's cute. All right, it says piston rings have been pre-installed into the cylinder bore. Pop the pistons out. Oh my God, look how cute they are. They're so cute. All right, I'm gonna stick the piston in the cylinder because I don't want to pinch the rings in there or damage the cylinder or anything. Right now the rings are closer to the bottom anyways. So I'm just gonna use the piston to push the ring out square. That's gonna push it out into the bottom. There we go. All right, so there's one piston ring. there's the second one. So we're gonna take and put rings on. These rings look pretty much symmetrical top to bottom, so we're gonna kind of work those right on. There's one. All right, so if you're doing this with your kid, maybe dads, you put the rings on, because that one right there fought me a little bit, but you don't want to break a ring. So as you get closer to this side here, it gets tighter, so this is gonna compress our rings for us. Before we do that though, we're gonna take these little connecting rod caps off. So we're gonna pull out the little wrenches in here. All right, so the smallest little wrenches for this. They just gave me an Allen wrench for this, so I don't know if these rod caps are rod specific, but I'm gonna keep them separate. All right, so I'm gonna leave that cap there, and it looks like with this more machine side is gonna go towards that side. All right, they look pretty symmetrical. I'm gonna just dip the whole top of the piston in there, do the rod too. I do wanna get just a little bit of oil inside in the rod there. All right, here we go, there's one. Get all the oil all over. Clean up some of our oil mess. Maybe don't do that right over top of your instruction book. All right, so we just got that down in the block. Be careful. Oh, the original pairing shall be kept during disassembly and shall not be confused. During installation, the concave point at the arrow shall also be kept corresponding. Okay, so it's a good thing I kept this cap with this piston here and this piston here with this cap. All right, so that was good. I should have definitely read that before I did that. But now it's also talking about, I don't know what it's, oh, is it the side of the rod? Okay, wow. Okay, this is very hard to see. Let me take a picture with my phone. So there's this little concave spot on the rod. We need to make sure that lines up with the matching one on the other side of the rod. Does it say which? All right, it doesn't say whether the mark needs to be towards each other, towards one side, or towards the other side. So it doesn't say that, so I'm not really sure. But I need to make sure, I'm gonna put them both, see that one's there. All right, so right now both of them are facing this way, so I need to remember that with both caps. So I already got oil on my rods, which is good. I'm gonna take and dab a little bit of oil on the crank journals there. Make sure both of my seals are oiled up so those don't run dry. Looks like we're gonna go this way. So that looks like the picture. We're gonna go this way. All right, so remember my marks are both facing that direction. I still think this is one of the coolest little things. Other than having like small parts, so far this is super easy too. All right, it's gonna be hard to turn until we get the base on it. All right, let's just make sure I got it in there right. Yep, that looks like the picture. All right, make sure your crank's pushed down all the way. This didn't go in, it kind of snapped down in. All right, so it looks like there's two little half gaskets which are over in here. All right, so we got these two little guys. They pretty much look symmetrical. All right, so we got our oil pan, and then it looks like a bunch of number 16. All right, there's a deeper side, like a longer side here and a narrower side here. The narrow side goes up here towards the gear. The longer side goes towards the side here where there's a belt. Set them over that. This little guy's coming together. I'm really liking this little engine kit because I haven't had one bolt that felt like it stripped out or like the threads were junk in it yet. Even the rod bolts being as little as they were, those felt good. They snugged up real good. All right, so I got all those snugged up. I want to rotate this. Oh yeah, it's hard without the head because they keep wanting to push the sleeves out. But all right, on to the next page. I do notice this rolls over kind of stiff. And I don't know why. I don't know if I didn't get the crank in there perfect. Maybe I can shim it side to side. All right, so now we got the cam and the head. So I'm gonna pull the camshaft out. So we got our little camshaft. All right, so it looks like seal first. We're gonna dip him in oil. And then our flanged bearing with the flange out. Then our circlip. Take a flat head and push down on it. All right, so now we can put our little pin in, put our little gear on, and then our other little clip. I might end up using pliers for this guy because he's kind of in a tight spot. All right, there's our little camshaft. Ain't he cute? This thing's so cute. All right, so it looks like we're gonna take our head out. Look at those little valves. Aren't those things, wow, this thing's so cool. I like this thing. All right, so it looks like our head's this way. I'm gonna slide our cam in through this side. Get that seal in there and started. Kind of be gentle because right now I'm fighting that seal going into that head. So I'm just gonna kind of push gently. Now I'm down to the bearing. There you go, just a little more. There we go. All right, so I just kind of push down on that till that went in the rest of the way. Now it looks like you gotta do the same thing. Looks like the seal's gotta go in. That's kind of a pain in the butt. Oh, okay. Well, now that bearing and seal's in there, it gives you room to move the cam backwards out of the way. So you can get this in here and started. It's kind of busting my bearings a little bit. Get in there. Probably what I would have done if I were to do this again is I would have got the seal and bearing started on this side before I put the cam in. And I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt that seal if I try to pull it out now. What I'm gonna do is take a socket that fits pretty much the same as that bearing on the outer race. I'm gonna set that down. I'm gonna set this on top. There we go. All right, so that worked out pretty good right there. You just need to space the shaft up away so you can push on it, push on just the bearing and not touch the cam. So then you can put your palm on the cam and push. All right, so now that that's in there, I'm gonna put this last clip on and that'll be our cam. Look at the little lobes on the cam. Ain't that cute? All right, now it says to put it on the motor. All right, so we got another gasket in here. 2 gaskets. Do I put both on there? I don't know. It's supposed to be 2. I don't know what else it would go for unless it was like this or no. I don't know. I don't really want to put both on. All right, so I need a bunch of number 13s. Which number 13s are in here? All right, so this one head bolt here is kind of feeling a little weird, but this is the only bolt so far that I've had that felt like this. Alrighty, we got that on. Now, all right, looks like we got some cute little valve caps. So this is kind of like a dirt bike motor. This would be kind of like a shim under bucket motor, but there's no shims, it's just the bucket. I'm assuming there's maybe valve seals or something in here, so I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on it before I close them in. I'm glad those valves are installed because that would have been a bitch. Definitely no doing a valve job on this thing. All right, so we got our little buckets in there. Sweet. All right, looks like we got to put together a couple rocker arms. Looks like we got 2 of those. So we got 4 little rockers. All right, those are the screws to put them in. All right, looking at the picture, it looks like the little bubbles go onto the cam. It'll only go in there one way, so that makes me feel better. I'm gonna install one and then I'll stick the other in. This head seems to have a lot of sand in it. Mine does anyways. So maybe if you were to do this, maybe try to blow the head out before you start on it. I've noticed some grit. All right, so looks like we make a little sandwich out of these gaskets here. So this looks like the little intake manifold because it goes between both cylinders. It looks like we're going onto this side here. Alrighty, looks like there's a cute little carburetor. Looks like he gets a little O-ring, which is number 21. So it looks like he goes right in the hole. Well, it helps if I go the right way. All right, so that slides in there. All right, so I'm kind of tipping it this way to get this top bolt started. I'm gonna get this run most of the way in there. This should be kind of difficult because you want it to seal off, but I didn't think it was gonna be that difficult. All right, so I got that run most of the way in. Now I'm gonna try to push it the other way. I wanna try to line it up visually first. Wow, all right. So basically what I did is I pushed it into the ground this way and I pushed it like this. Like I tried to push it in order to get it tipped so that I could get that bolt started, but now I got it started. That was kind of a pain in the butt. All right, so now it looks like we got some sort of idler pulley here. So this little pulley goes up here. I'm gonna run these in so they get tight and back them up just a little bit. All right, looks like we get to put together a little fan. Set the motor off to the side for a second. Itty bitty, teeny weeny little bolts. All right, so we got a little fan. All right, looks like I got to put the belt on at the same time. So it says to make sure these 2 points, which is on the crank and the cam, are facing down and middle when installing belt. All right, so we've got a very little dink right there. I'm gonna face him down. And then right here's another little mark on there. So 40 is the inside one. So I need the bigger one. All right, so this is super important, but we need to make sure that when the tension is being pulled out right here where my thumb is, that the dots are lined up. So I got it lined up pretty close. I'm just tightening up the fan now. Shit, I think that actually looks pretty decent. All right, now that the fan's tight, I'm gonna push this little slider with my thumb, hold it in, and then tighten up these 2 bolts down here. All right, so I'm just gonna turn this motor over slowly by hand because I don't wanna bend a valve or anything. All right, I think that looks pretty decent. Well, this thing is so cool. All right, now it looks like we got a little exhaust to put on here. All right, now we got a little starter motor bracket. All right, so we got to shove this little gasket in here. So I'm gonna put this little gasket in behind here, kind of like such. Looks like it's gonna go right here. I'm gonna get it kind of squared up to that pulley there. Now it looks like we gotta pull the starter motor out. I'm gonna put this little driver on here. Got 2 little set screws. Boy, these set screws are teeny tiny. So we got these 2 set screws in here holding this on. These 2 little bolts are gonna go in here. I wanna get the cool little word stuck out. All right, so working that belt on like a bicycle chain. So I noticed the belt looks like it's pulling this way, so it looks like it's gonna rub the block. So I'm gonna loosen these 2 bolts down here, see if I can't shove the whole starter that way. The starter is loose still, so maybe I'll snug this up onto the bracket. All right, so that's not fixing it. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna loosen up the sprocket that's on the electric motor and I'm gonna move that out. So I'm gonna take and loosen up this little set screw, and loosen up that little set screw, and I'm gonna pull this out until that looks like it lines up good. Now this feels pretty loose, this belt does, so let's see if we can adjust that. All right, so I kind of pried out a little bit. All right, that feels a little better. We're good and lined up there then. All right, looks like we got the valve cover next. We're getting pretty close. That's empty, that's empty, that's empty. Oh, we got a couple little holes here. All right, so we got all these little screws here to put in now. Look at this little guy. This thing is so cool. Like, to have an actual little motor like this. Look at that. This thing's cool. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Till next time, peace.